Hello, I'm Lindsay Benacka, Director of Arts and Cultural Services for the City of Wichita, and I'm joined here with Councilmember Becky Tuttle to talk about my favorite thing, art, and then probably maybe another favorite thing for the community and for decision makers is the economy, and where arts and the economy join together. The city is participating in the 6th Annual Arts and Economic Prosperity Study with Americans for the Arts. We've participated in the last 5 versions of this study, but we've just wrapped up the data collection for the 6th study. And for the sake of today's conversation, we're going to say AEP 6 a lot, and that stands for Arts and Economic Prosperity Study, and it's our 6th iteration. For today's conversation, you can find out more at wichita.gov/arts, or even just straight to the AEP information, wichita.gov/AEP6, because there's just a lot of really great data that we want to make sure we share with the community, that we share far and wide, because arts means business here in Wichita. That there's a lot of great feel-good things that the arts bring to our community, but it also really is a huge economic driver in our community.
I love that you said art means business in Wichita. That's going to be my new tagline for. Okay. I'm going to say that a lot. I can hear myself saying that in many settings.
Take it and run with it. So maybe just off the cuff, why is this work important to you as a city council member?
Sure. It's important to me as a city council member because it's important to Wichita, truly. I'm a proud member of the Wichita Arts Council and glad to serve on the board. When I talk with our anchor industries, when we talk with industries who are thinking of moving to our great city, they often say, we can bring people here for the jobs, but we need the community to be thriving and vibrant so that people will stay. People come for jobs, they stay for the quality of life. And I know sometimes that people think that arts are just a nicety, but I say they really are a necessity in our community. It brings a lot to the economy, which we'll get into the numbers, I'm sure, a little bit more, but it also really just enriches us as a culture, and it gives us an opportunity to celebrate so many great talents that we have. I have absolutely no artistic ability, visual or performing, and so I've often been heard saying that I'm really grateful for the artists who do share with us. And art isn't just, you know, a beautiful painting that we hang above our fireplace, right? It can be jewelry, it can be pottery, it can be the performing arts, as I mentioned, the symphony, the ballet, the opera. All of those activities just really do make Wichita a more rich experience. And so I've been passionate about the arts for a very long time, and just now very grateful and thankful to have this opportunity as a city council member to continue to champion it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
For all that support and for all that you do as a member of the Arts Council and just as a leader within the community for championing this work. It's seen and greatly appreciated by the local arts community.
Well, and I tell people too that there's an arts organization here in our community, Mark Arts, that's in my district, so I'll give it a little shout out, that I really do love, and am close with the staff there and supportive in any way that I can. My husband's also on the board there, and so I have taken classes there, and I always say that I never make a masterpiece, but I make a memory. And so for me, it's not even just the art, but the experience that also goes along with it that I really value and appreciate.
Yeah, I like to talk about like the process of art is often as important, if not more meaningful than the product of art, whether that's performing arts, going to a show, the rehearsal process, all the stuff that happens behind the scenes, and the creative process is just as impactful and meaningful.
That's a fantastic point.
Well, so you mentioned one arts organization. So Wichita is actually home to a bajillion. That's the official number that I'm going to go with.
We can't fact check bajillion. You'd be a great elected official.
We have a ton of local arts organizations, both nonprofit, for-profit, unofficial groups, clubs that are really moving this sector within our community. For the sake of the AEP 6, we had 99 local organizations participate.
I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, so I actually pulled the number this morning. 99 local organizations, groups, clubs, and this is just the nonprofit sector that the study gathers, so it doesn't pull the for-profit sector, which would be movie theaters, concert clubs, arenas, kind of, which we know that those are a huge economic driver too. This is just tracking the nonprofit sector. So over the course of the last 6 to 8 months, we've been surveying audiences at these nonprofit and also public events, so all the city organizations that are non-for-profit but maybe are city-owned and operated or county-owned and operated or university or school-related. We've been surveying audiences at all these various events. So Jesse Koza, I'll give a shout out to our cultural arts administrator. I think he single-handedly was at, oh gosh, at least 100 events with a clipboard, surveying audience members, asking them about their experience and really how much did they spend to go to the show? Did they, or go to the event, did they buy a ticket? Did they get a babysitter? Did they buy a new pair of shoes? Did they go out for ice cream? Or after the event, did they get dinner beforehand? Did they travel to an event? And then on the flip side, when we think about tourism, were they coming in from out of town, or had this event not existed in our community, would they have traveled elsewhere to see it? So that's the kind of information that the survey gathers. It's really quantitative, it's not qualitative. And do you like the arts? It's not asking for affirmation. It's really looking at those quantitative drivers within the community. So 99 local organizations participated in the study for AEP 6. When we look back at AEP 5 numbers, which I think we have a great track record within participating in this program. So we've participated in every year. On our website, we have the last 3 studies, so starting from 2005 all the way up to 2015. When we published those results in 2017, it took us a couple years to get all those data points together. We proved that the nonprofit arts sector within the city of Wichita limits, so that's another point, that this is not the tertiary kind of greater Sedgwick County area, this is just city of Wichita limits. In 2017, we were in $94.7 million annual economic impact point within the community. So that's like a huge number when we think about local economy that is driven by a nonprofit sector, let alone a creative sector at that. $43.9 million was the nonprofit cultural organizations input into that, and then $50 million was related to spending by the audiences. So that's that extra spending that audiences do. In 2017, we reported 2,841 full-time equivalent jobs were related to the creative sector. And it generated $70.9 million in income to residents here, and $9.5 million in local and state government revenue. So that's millions with an M. That's a big number thinking about nonprofit sector, and having worked in the arts industry for a couple minutes myself, that goes a long way in this sector.
And I will tell you, when I'm championing the arts, and talking with my colleagues on council, or I'm talking with, my neighbors or constituents, I always send them the link to this study, because sometimes they don't believe it. And it's not that they're being doubtful, but it's just numbers that we don't often talk about. And so that's one of the reasons that I've really been championing it, is to get people to understand, again, that arts just aren't a nicety. Of course we love them. It makes our lives better, helps hopefully, attract and retain talent and business to the community, but it is an economic driver to have over 2,800 full-time equivalent jobs. That's a large sector of our community, and so I just am really grateful that we have this data. I've said for decades, some people make decisions with their heart and some people make decisions with their head, and this gives people who make those decisions with their head just one more reason to be a champion of the arts.
Sure. I always like to say that you don't have to be good at art or even like art for it to be good for you. So whether or not you participate in this area of the economy or in the community, maybe you'll never go into a theater. I mean, I hope you do. But if you don't participate in this area, or maybe you're a sports fanatic and the arts aren't for you, don't feel that the arts are for you, you can still see the benefits of them.
Absolutely. And as if you were an employer, if you own a business or work for a corporation, you should want to support the arts, because even again, if you're not a connoisseur of the arts, the people that work with you and potentially work for you do, right? And so this is just one more quality of life initiative that we need to have to make us competitive with other cities, so that we don't lose our talent.
Absolutely. And since we just talked about the kind of, we'll call it just the chart that's located on our website, looking at kind of that growth rate we saw from 2005 to 2015, one thing that's going to be incredibly important about the data that we're gathering now is how have we recovered, or kind of where are we post-pandemic? We know the performing arts sector in particular was hit exceptionally hard and has a really hard recovery rate as we rebuild audiences, but we have a history of significant growth in this sector of our community, and this study will be probably our most important to date as we really track, have we recovered, have we not, and if we haven't, what do we need to do about it? Because we know the trends that have existed, so do we need to double down on that investment, or do we need to rethink how we're supporting this sector of the community, because we know the potential that it has. So we're really excited to get that data back for 2022, 2023 numbers, to where's our community now, because a lot has changed since 2015.
Absolutely.
We have so many more organizations, so many more creative capitals within our community that weren't tracked in the last study. So we're really excited to get that data to really tell us how we're doing now.
And when will we get the AEP6 data?
So we just wrapped up surveys. We send it to Americans for the Arts, who compile all that data and do all the comparisons, because it is a national study. We hope to get those numbers back this fall.
Great.
We're optimistic that we'll have them before the end of the year, which would be really crucial for us to fold into our new cultural arts master plan. But with or without those numbers, we're moving forward. So we're excited for those numbers to come back at the end of this year. The study was supposed to take place in 2020. That would have not been a great time to do that.
That wouldn't have been a good time to do it.
So we're glad that we put it on hold, and now we're kicking it off and doing it right this year.
And one of the things that I've said at the Arts Council board, you know, I've kind of made this rally call several times. When we get the new data, we need to get out and give it to the community.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's data about them. It's a reflection of what, you know, people are certainly interested in, but also to let people know the economic impact of it. So I'm hopeful, you know, maybe in February we do a We Love the Arts, you know, Wichita loves the arts. I don't know what the theme or how we'll do it, but just like with, and I'm a data junkie, but just like with any good study, you don't want it just to go and sit on a shelf, right? Sure. I hope that, you know, next year at this time that I'm not the only one of my colleagues or community leaders who are talking about this. Because right now I feel like sometimes, you know, I'm sharing it with people and they don't know what it is. I hope next year at this point everybody goes, oh yeah, I read it, or I went to a presentation on it, or I've seen the data. So I think that will be the challenge for cultural arts at the city, the Arts Council, and the 99 partner organizations.
Absolutely.
Right? They should all have this on their Facebook and you know, website or wherever it needs to be. But that would be my true wish, is that we use this to help continue to build the case of why arts need to be supported in our city.
Will do. Yeah, we will definitely take a road show and have more conversations like this. Because whatever the data shows, it's going to be very important to tell our story. And I know the local organizations that participate, which is a lot of work for them, so we're incredibly grateful for their support. But they utilize this data for applying for grants, for talking to their boards,
right?
For all sorts of different things. Is really important to everyone.
And the thing that I like too is that you know, sometimes people question the validity of data. Not only is it, we know that we had enough folks who participated in the survey for it to be valid, but then it also goes to a national organization who helps us to be able to, you know, digest the data and to give us the report. But then what's also equally important to me is we're comparing ourselves to peer cities. You know, we always have those cities that we talk about, and oftentimes, you know, we say as council members, I'm tired of hearing about those cities. I want you know, those cities to be bragging about us. And so it'll be interesting when we get it too, to see how we compare to our peer cities, and the fact that it's a national study makes that easier.
Absolutely. And I will say from the last data, and I don't have these data points to pull from, we outperformed most of our peer cities in the last 2 iterations. So
of course we did.
That's just the community doing it.
Yeah.
So and we just get to tell the story, which is really wonderful. In talking about kind of another side of this, and one of our key partners in advocating for this work and making sure that we're marketing this work far and wide is Visit Wichita, and talking about tourism and the impact that the arts play in our local tourism economy. So in thinking about arts tourists, or people that travel for cultural events or fairs, they're known to spend twice as much and stay twice as long when they travel. They're international travelers. Actually 69% of the international travel community travel for culturally related programming or events or something artistic. So that's going to a museum, I like to think like you go to Europe to go see, to consume art and culture. We actually have the reverse effect here as well. We just pulled some interesting stats, and sorry, this is breaking news for you. I haven't had a chance to share it with you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And looking at Cowtown stats specifically, this is one of the organizations that the city owns and operates. In the last 10 months alone, so this isn't an annual report, we were just kind of looking at our zip code impact. In the last 10 months, Cowtown has had visitors from 49 different states, all but Wyoming. So if you're from Wyoming and you're tuning in, please come to
Cowtown.
Cowtown, DC and Puerto Rico have visited, and 40 countries. 40 different countries have visited Cowtown in the last 10 months.
In 10 months.
10 months.
That's amazing. So 49 states, Wyoming, we're going to get on them, and 40 countries in the last 10 months.
Yeah.
That's an amazing data point.
And that's something that I don't think we might, not that I think we're sleeping on these sectors of the community, but we have so many prized points within our hat to really champion, and one of these organizations is doing that.
Yeah.
So I think if we were to pull those data points from all of our organizations,
that's
we're
what I was
really
going to ask. Are we doing that with the Wichita Art Museum or Benacka? Or,
yeah.
Okay.
Most of the organizations do track zip codes. On the flip side of this program is the Sunflower Summer Program, which is really promoting tourism right here in the state. So when we look at kind of the reverse effect of what just talking about, like arts tourists coming in from outside the state, in that case, we're really promoting local tourism as well. So the Sunflower Summer Program is an initiative by the state of Kansas that provides free or reduced admission to Kansas attractions, and we have 18 local attractions here in the city of Wichita that are participating. It's free, reduced admission if you're a family with a school-age kid, pre-K to 12th grade, I believe, and you get free admission or reduced rate, but then the organization receives that admission rate on the back end from the state of Kansas, and that's under the Department of Tourism, because we understand the value that this plays in the community, because getting free admission to that place, you're going to purchase something at the gift shop, you're going to spend the night, you're going to buy food and beverage, all those other expenses that tack onto it. That attraction is the first step in that economic movement.
So I just had a thought, and I'm going to say it now, so that way it's on tape. So it'll hold me accountable to this. But in District 2, we do a breakfast once every quarter, one time during the quarter, so that way we can engage with community members. And mine happens to be tomorrow morning, and it's going to be on the budget, because that's what everybody's talking about. So the next one that I have will be in August, and I would love for you to be able to come and share this data and talk about what you said about Cowtown and the 49. Come on, Wyoming, 49 states and 40 countries, but we should do it at the Art Museum.
Sure.
And give then the folks who want to come, because it's free for them to come anyway, to be able to come in and have an experience of seeing the Art Museum. So even though the Art Museum is not in my district, I still would love to do that. Or we could do it at City Arts, so I'll put in a plug for City Arts too. So okay, so in August we'll get you on the schedule. See, I'm going to put you on the road show and get you out telling everybody all this great data.
I'll take it. I think it's very easy to talk about art, and it's maybe not as easy for me to talk about like budgets and economy, but this is a really exciting touch point that I don't think we talk about that touch point nearly enough.
I agree.
Anything else come to mind with all this discussion?
I was just thinking that I've been a shameless plug for the arts so much with council, had City Arts come and talk at the last director's report, but this would be also a great opportunity for you to come and give a report, something at council or at a director's report. I just want to make sure that people know this and they understand it, and how just incredibly important it is to have arts in our community, and this is just building the business case for it. What was your line again?
Art means business.
Arts mean business. Okay.
I will say that is in like the tagline that Americans for the Arts gives us, so I won't take credit for it. It's a good talking point, so we all need to share it.
Yeah, but I will, and I'll really think, and also one of the things that I like to do with things like this is not only tout the information, but I'm going to do some really thinking about how I can engage with my constituents and see how they want to hear this, and some venues that they want to hear it too. But there's 99 organizations that we talked about. They certainly will be part of our champions that get the message out with us.
Yeah. Absolutely. You've got some national numbers sitting in front of you. Do you want to talk about those at all?
Yeah, and at first, upon first blush, when I read it, I didn't know it was national, and I was like, what? This is amazing. But in 2017, the AEP-5, which we're on 6 now, but the AEP-5 documented nationally that non-for-profit arts and cultural industries generated $166.3 billion in economic activity. We said for us here locally from this study, it was about 94 million. Mm-hmm. So if you take all of the cities that do this study and then you combine it, it's 166 billion, which supported 4.6 million jobs and generated 27.5 billion in government revenue. So those are numbers with the B. So that's really impactful amount of jobs, resources, and just a real boost in our economy nationally, not just locally.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and arts means business.
Arts means business.
And we've got some more information about that on our website as well, as does American for the Arts. And just thinking about AEP-6 and the important work that this is doing for our community and the national landscape, it really changes the conversation about how the nonprofit arts and cultural sector is seen as just an industry. It's one that's often considered a charitable organization or charitable giving, which is really worthy and a huge part of this work as well. So please give to your local arts organizations and support them in any way you can. But this is also hard to justify in challenging times, which we've had. But when we kind of pair that with this economic driver point of it, it's just a really important investment to make personally as whatever your family is able to offer, but then from a municipality standpoint as well. And I think the city of Wichita does an exceptional job of supporting our local arts community.
Another interest, when you were mentioning all those entities, the one thing that, we might also want to consider how we can get in front of them. And there is a local restaurant and hospitality association, I don't know the exact name, but I think they would probably be interested in this and maybe being the champion as well, because in the very beginning of our conversation, you talked about that, it's not just the actual ticket that you purchase or the fee for a class or the item that you purchase that's art. It's also, for example, if we're going to go to the symphony, if I'm lucky, maybe I'll get a new dress to wear or a new pair of shoes, like you said. But then almost always we go to dinner first, or we have ice cream after, or whatever it may be. And so the restaurant and hospitality industry may be interested in this data too,
absolutely.
Because they are also getting the economic shot in the arm from this. So might be another thought.
Yeah, no, definitely. And thinking about, just to kind of maybe wrap up the conversation a little bit, Americans for the Arts is a really great partner in this work and has been leading this effort for the last 25 years now. We're going on 30 years with this type of study going on. They're also making a significant expansion this year in the sixth year of this sixth iteration of the study by expanding how we're tracking data, and they've got a specific initiative for tracking BIPOC data, so looking at Black, Indigenous, people of color, and Alana or African, Latinx, Asian, Arab, and Native American communities. So we're really intentional on tracking communities that may not have been involved in the study in the past. So actually part of our surveying that was mandatory was that a certain number of surveys that we collected had to have been from organizations that are BIPOC related or have BIPOC initiatives within their mission statement or had BIPOC programming. So we were very, very intentional in tracking those numbers. I'm really proud that here in Wichita we actually exceeded the minimum by about 20%. So we were supposed to collect about 200 surveys from BIPOC communities, and we did, gosh, I know we had at least 350, and we had really great partners with the Kansas African American Museum, the Mid-America All-Indian Museum. Once I start naming things, I always leave someone out, so I'm going to stop there.
It's like the Academy Awards. You forget to thank your wife or husband or whoever, your children, and then somebody's mad at you.
We had a lot of really great partners, and this is an important part of the study that we haven't tracked in the past, that we're really thankful for AFTA for leading this effort, and we're really excited to get that. That will be a new data point. So 5 years from now when we do the next study, we'll be able to see what those trends are within the community as well.
Excellent. Anything else you think we should share?
I think we covered a lot of information.
We sure did.
Thank you for your support of this work.
Of course.
And thank you to our bajillion community partners. And if you took a survey via the QR code or at a clipboard at one of the events, we really thank you for those data. It's never fun to take surveys or be bombarded by someone with a clipboard, but this is really important data. So thank you for anyone that participated in this work. And for more information, you can go to wichita.gov/arts or direct to the AEP information, wichita.gov/AEP6.
And I'm not going to let this end without thanking you. You have been such an asset to arts and cultural arts, not just with the city of Wichita being the municipality, I always say the big C, but within the city being the little c, the community. You've just done a phenomenal job. Your knowledge is incredible. Your passion is infectious. It's truly my pleasure to be able to work with and learn from you. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Very
Happy
grateful
to do
for
so.
you.
This community is really easy to support and be a part of. So we've got a really stellar community.
So I'm super excited to see how what we're gonna do with this and what it's gonna look like and what the data's gonna show us, and it's just gonna be all good things for Wichita.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
agree. Thank you.
Thank you.